Hello, Internet, and welcome to yet another episode of Demajen Plays Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker. We're in patch 6.2. I have been on many an outing to the fell court of Troya at this point, and I cannot get the trousers to drop at all. So, I've got the item level for this. We're up at 591 now. I've changed my scythe. I've got no materia in pretty much anything. Yeah, I'm stuck with the limbo stuff. So, it is what it is. Today we are doing Abyssos, which is the second set of circles of Pandæmonium. That is an eye. Let's make sure I remember to start recording this time. I have. Good. Demajen, I made a breakthrough. After uncountable days and nights, I finally hearkened to the crystal's whispers, and I must say... Professor Claudian, where are your manners? While I understand all too well your enthusiasm, I must remind you that even the most academically inclined prefer a composed recounting of events. Yes, of course. My apologies, Demajen. Being consumed by my research for so long, I'm afraid I've quite forgotten how to engage in civilized conversation. There were so many things that I could say to that, but I'm not going to because I'm a professional. Ahem. In that case, perhaps you should start from the beginning with a crystal set adrift upon the ethereal tides containing the memories of a party yet unknown. They cried out for deliverance from Pandæmonium, where the ancients kept volatile creations under lock and key. You yourself witnessed the power devouring the facility from within, the advent of a divine monstrosity wrought of mythic beast and powerful mage. Fortunately, your martial prowess, and the combined magical talents of your companions Themis and Erechthonius, was sufficient to restore order to the circles of Asphodelos. But the greater threat remains. In the depths of Pandæmonium, a presence yet stirs, its intentions and identity shrouded in mystery. That is the issue at hand. Is it not? Yes, thank you for that recap, Mr. Exposition. Since you returned to us, we worked tirelessly to discern the nature of the crystal. In the process, I detected an anomalous etheric signature, which I believe arose from the memories stored within. Analysis of this pattern suggested a feeling of loss or yearning, specifically the yearning to be made whole, and indeed ambient readings have revealed a faint but identical signature. This can only mean that another such crystal exists in our time. So, my friend, I must depart to search for it forthwith. By tracing the matching etheric signature to its source, I believe it will be a simple matter to find our crystal's twin. Professor, will this expedition be carried out only by us, or will Demajen grace us with her protection? I'm afraid she has more pressing matters to attend to, my dear Rusinal. Namely, to seek out the secrets which lie nestled within Pandæmonium, where this all began. From all that we have heard, it appears that time traversal from the Crystal Tower is not fluid. That is to say, one can but travel in predetermined intervals. It will be prudent to check in on occasion in case there are any unanticipated changes. As for you, my loyal assistants, I would ask you to remain here and continue cataloguing the ancient creations. You can't mean you intend to search for the crystal on your own? Why, yes, that would be the most efficient use of resources, would it not? In fact, I have already commissioned a ship and pilot for that very purpose. I trust you to take good care of the laboratory in my absence. And off he walks. Those boots look very sturdy and comfortable. I apologise for that somewhat abrupt departure. When progress is in sight, Professor Claudian tends to become blind to all else. Indeed, and he has been worse than usual. While I cannot fault him for his excitement, I do wish he would spare a thought for those around him. For reasons unknown, the crystal seems loath to be overheard. Much as it spoke only to you last time, none but the Professor has been able to capture its ethereal yearning, which has served only to convince him that he can solve this puzzle on his own. Surely after some time alone, he'll come to remember how valuable we are. The search for this crystal seemed to be a simple enough matter. Let him have his adventure, and upon his return I'm certain he'll be back to his usual self. As for you, Demajen, It may be best to return to Pandæmonium as Professor Claudian suggested. Speaking of which, I did have a request of my own to make. Travelling to Pandæmonium requires you to pass through Elpis, correct? This is something I would have you investigate in my stead. While those creations confined within Pandæmonium are considered to be failures, I doubt that's their whole story. Barring exceptional cases, they must have been under observation in Elpis before being consigned to their shackles, and if we know anything about the Ancients, it's that they would have kept thorough records of the results. Ah, brilliant! Delving into these records may shed light on creatures Demajen has yet to encounter. If your theory proves correct, that is. While there are no guarantees, it certainly beats the current strategy of rushing forward blindly with only our strength to carry the day. For your own sake, as well as ours, please unearth what information you can. Nod. Okay. Onwards then. To Elpis. Peripatea crystalline. Auton oikos. Still makes me think of pigs. Portly oinkers. Speaking of portly oinkers, I'm using Mount Roulette and it is decided that the portly flying piggy is our choice. Themis. Ah, I did not expect to meet you here of all places. No. Ah, I did not expect to meet you here, of all places. Using records of Pandæmonium's creations. Master Themis has just finished perusing the very same. I should not be surprised that we both arrived at the same conclusion. Luckily, I have saved you the trouble and gleaned what information I could. Ah, so you know each other. I was dreading having to once again scour the archives, but perhaps instead I'll rest for a spell. If there's nothing else, I shall take my leave. Bye. As should we, for I have undone the warding sigil blocking the entrance to Abyssos. I came here merely to chase an idle suspicion while awaiting your return. Fortunately, while Pandæmonium's protective wards continue to be assailed by our unknown foe, there have been no fluctuations so great as to make me doubt Erchthonius' capacity to keep watch over Asphodelos while I'm away. That was a really long sentence. He works diligently to master internment, that he might deliver the creations back to their cages by his own hand. I thought it best to give him time to hone his craft. And since fate has brought us both here, I'd ask you to accompany me while I attend to another matter. More idle suspicions that I would like to chase down. Rest assured it shall not take long. I simply have a few questions to ask an acquaintance of mine. Come. He has agreed to meet us near the Neos and Pandæmonium. Hippogriffs. I've not been to Elpis much. It's one of those places where I was so overwhelmed by it that I have almost subconsciously attempted to make special and continue its specialness by not visiting very much. The only thing that I've done is I came here to do a little bit of gathering because there's a collectible node thingy up there that I was using for botanist. But truly, it is a delightful place. That's a very pink chocobo. As I have pondered our expedition into Pandæmonium, I could not help but be mystified by how strongly the warders we encountered felt for La Habrea, whether it be for good or ill. Hesperos and Erchthonius were two sides of the same coin. The former looked to his mentor with absolute devotion, while the latter looks to his father with bold hatred. Bold hatred? Is that a phrase? It's not one I'm aware of. I would not expect a familiar such as you to understand this, but such extreme emotions towards a single individual are quite rare indeed. Naturally, I feel gratitude toward my mother and father, yet we are all equals in the larger picture of the star. This view is not unique to myself, it is more or less accepted as the way of things. By contrast, the researchers of Pandæmonium seem to view La Habrea with a feeling approaching obsession. Whether driven by love or hate, they have all been drawn to him. There were many other aspects of the facility's particulars I found troubling besides. I decided the best course of action would be to go straight to the source and pose my questions to a member of the words of La Habrea. My apologies to have kept you waiting, Master Themis. I understand you are conducting an investigation of Pandæmonium and wish to know of its origins. Indeed. In particular, I wish to know why exactly Pandæmonium was built directly under Elpis. The facility is overseen by the words of La Habrea, after all. Why keep it so close to Elpis, whose governing body has no say in its day-to-day operations? At first I thought it to be simply a matter of convenience. Those creations which were deemed failures by the researchers of Elpis could be easily ushered into their new homes. Imagine my surprise when a trip to the archives revealed that many of the creations were sent from organisations beyond Elpis, including from the words of La Habrea themselves. Given this, albeit limited, information, I cannot but feel that the Academia Annida would have been a more fitting locale. What does Elpis have that cannot be found there? Those are fitting questions, and ones we have asked ourselves many times in recent years. Alas, the nature of Pandæmonium's construction does not lend itself to relocation. When first it was built, circumstances weren't as they are now. As you surmise, the majority of creations kept within Pandæmonium were sent from Elpis. Yet as the years passed, interests changed. Failures in creations deemed too flawed even to submit to Elpis paradoxically drew the attention of Pandæmonium's researchers. That is quite the change, and in fact it almost runs counter to the facility's original purpose. Who is it that decides which creations will be the subject of research? Master La Habrea. Such authority is reserved to the Chief Keyword, and he has taken it upon himself to step into that role. So, if Pandæmonium's resources were being misused, it would be under La Habrea's authority, correct? It's quite the accusation. I know not what you're suggesting, but the Keywords also hold some sway within the facility. Not even Master La Habrea will be free from their scrutiny. They are duty-bound to report any irregularities as soon as possible. Although, I admit, as of late their communications have been somewhat sporadic. We but recently received a report from one of the Keywords stating that all is well within Pandæmonium's halls. Really? And you are certain that a Keyword sent it? Yes, of course. Our communications suffered a temporary obstruction, but I can assure you that the words did their due diligence in confirming the identity of the sender. Thank you. This information will be helpful to my investigation. That will be all for my prying. And then I shall take my leave. While you are yet permitted to conduct your investigation freely, I must remind you that the warder's work is delicate, and it would be remiss to disturb them for longer than is necessary. Communication was interrupted. All is well. A blatant lie, and to that we can both attest. One of the remaining Keywords is most certainly in league with the party behind this. Let us hurry. I know not why our adversary sent that report, but 'tis plain that we must return to Pandæmonium with haste. Maybe it's code. Maybe it's all an elaborate plan. I cannot guess as to why this false report has arisen now, but it certainly bodes ill, as does the knowledge that our mysterious mastermind has at least one more keyword to puppets. Regardless, they have tipped their hand, and we would be remiss to leave Erichthonius at the mercy of their machinations. Let us hope no harm has befallen him. I assume this is going to be the serpenty one that we saw in the trailer. This keyword. Eric. He practice. Wom. Close. Not quite. I've traced these sigils countless times, yet still I lack the strength to maintain the spell. And now time works against me. I can no longer be victim to my own ineptitude. What? Who goes there? There is something to be admired in such single-minded efforts, even if your methods leave much to be desired. You allowed this familiar to catch you unawares. Have you set your sights so high as to forget you walk upon the earth? I know this creature. I'm familiar with the Phoenix. That monster is locked away. But it is, in spite of the trouble I went to in freeing it, I might add. Begrudge me for addressing you in this ill-fitting form if you must, but with control of Asphodelos wrested from my grasp, 'tis simply the best I can offer you. Hide if you will, but mark my words, I will find you and make you pay for the chaos you've sown. No, there is no need for such hostility. A calm heart stays the course. The wisdom of Lahabrea, your father. And how would you know what wisdom he speaks? I've heard those words many times. The scolding of a tutor whose students struggled to grasp the most rudimentary lessons, seething with disgust. No. I've not told that to anyone, not even keyword Hesperus. That could only mean one thing. But still you insist on mocking me. Stop this farce, Lahabrea. At last you moved to keep up. Pity that you remain behind nonetheless. You mean Lahabrea is behind it all? What? As ever you are. Always you fail to learn, fail to understand, fail to act. And though fate deigned to offer an escape, you remain here. You are bereft of magical prowess and common sense both. But you need not despair. Dull though you may be, you are yet indispensable to Pandæmonium's great experiment. There's the affection I remember. Tell me, did I ever once measure up to your expectations? You shall. Take pride in that and rejoice to see your wish fulfilled. Ooh, wibbly. What? What wish? Come, and all shall be revealed. All this rage, this hatred is but a consequence of ignorance. Our desires align more than you know. What are you? Uninvited guests join our reunion. It seems fortune no longer favours you. Do you think I have any interest in listening to your prattle, let alone bowing to your will? I'm no longer a child, and my faith lies with those who have earned it. So, these are the heroes who brought Hesperus low, even as power divine flowed through his veins. Power divine, you say? 'Tis plain there are worthier subjects to contend with. And away he goes. Dear Lord, that hair texture. Yeah, I've got the hair texture stuff installed. Themis, just what was that familiar after? Who knows? Thank you. If you'd shown up even a moment later, I should have to think what had become of me. There's something I must tell you. I know who's behind it. There's but one person who can hold thrall over familiar creation and keyword alike. My daddy. Masks of the Father. And so there could be but one conclusion. La Habrea was the driving force behind this chaos from the start. There is logic to that. There are few with the wherewithal to even consider experimentation on such a scale, let alone the capacity to create demigods from man and beast, with the rest of us none the wiser. Considering the magnitude of his work with the convocation and the words, his relatively minor role as chief keyword comes under little scrutiny, even as it provides him the authority to wield dangerous magics. It may serve as veil and a mantle both. Still, I find the notion hard to accept. The misdeeds perpetrated here could not have been done by the La Habrea I know. You have met him, yes? Do you think he is capable of this? See, I am not entirely sure the La Habrea we've met is this La Habrea. The one that I know is certainly capable of far more than this. But is he? So you believe La Habrea to be a man of few scruples if it brings his goals closer in reach? That alone should be enough, but let me assure you, La Habrea holds nothing so dear as his own ambition. While he may not be one to let emotion stand in the way of his mission, I cannot believe there are no depths to which he would not stoop. Although we met but briefly, the impression he left on me stands in stark contrast to your evaluation. Though his methods are ever unorthodox, they seem guided by a firm understanding of what is just. You've only met him once. There's one way to find out for certain. We delve deeper into Pandæmonium and pull back the curtain on this mystery ourselves. A wise course. I'd not deny the truth if I saw it with my own eyes, even if it was discomforting to behold. Nod. Then we must move forward with no excess of caution. La Habrea, or whomever is behind this, has likely spread their tentacles into every corner of Pandæmonium. We can safely assume the other keywords won't greet us with open arms. Agreed. Let us make our way through Abyssos one careful step at a time. I shall stay by Octhonius' side in case our enemies think to target him again. Could I trouble you to take the van? Leave it to me. Thank you. As a precaution, I shall safeguard you with a simple spell. This will ensure that should we become separated, my phantom warriors will still come to your aid. If it does come to battle, the Keywords magic will put us at a disadvantage once again. Luckily, we have you to even the scales somewhat. I trust you shall be liberal with your weights. It's an odd turn of phrase. Okay. Abyssos, the fifth circle, now accessible. So, I believe P5. I think P5 is the green carbuncle one. Wonder how long this queue's going to be. It says less than 5 minutes, but you never know with this. See? I won't even need to cut that. Fortunately, having been to the fell court of Troya half a dozen times, I'm reasonably up to speed with Reaper once again. So I'm not going to suck completely. Just partially. Oh. A teleportation trap. I see spikes. Proto-carbuncle. It's pretty. Come, Phantom Warriors. The music in Pandæmonium has been excellent. Okay, so I've not done this before, obviously. I know nothing about the fight. I've not watched any guides. Hi all, first time here. Well, something tells me we don't want to be standing in front of him. Yeah, okay. Ruby glow. Oh. Okay, that... Interesting. So that rebounds and hits him in the face. Topaz stones. Oh. Probably not something we want to stand next to. No? Okay. Okay, how's this going to interact? So we want to be not in the ones with the... Yeah. I'm not paying any attention to actually DPSing here. I'm just watching the fights. Okay, this is no cells, so just stand behind him. Sonic Howl. Raid-wide AoE? Have we got another Reaper in this party? Oh, we have. Acidic Slaver. Oh, slaver, as in slobber. Spits. It's doing a thing. Oh! Arena change. This is a... a surprisingly long cutscene in the middle of a fight. Yeah, so this is a mix of the song that we heard in the trailer that I thought was really good, and the kind of Pandemonium boss fight theme from the last tier. Okay, I'm going to spend far too much time focusing on the music rather than the fight. Ooh, they're in... I assume it's not going to spread all the way. Ooh. Uh-oh. I see. Oh dear. Somebody got blasted by that. Okay, so that's... The teeth chompy marker thing is the order in which he's going to... Oh dear. Oh, it's just an ordered thing. God, my DPS must be so low. I'm sorry. That being said, I could be dead, so... Oh, this hasn't got as many... Oh. Oh no, shit! That's not what I wanted to do at all, is it? Oh. I took less damage from that than I was expecting to. Did I actually do that? I don't think I did that right. No. Ah, damn it, I haven't got arcane. Oh no, there we go. Just enough time to get that up. That was perfectly fine, to be honest. Love that green colour. That music, though. Look at all those Venus flytraps. That was a super cool piece of music. Really nice arena. And a very... I think a very well telegraphed boss fight, to be honest. Well... Nod. And a little smile. Yeah, that was fine. Dude, let's command the other Reaper, and there's loot. Do 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 do. I don't actually know what item level this stuff comes out at. Everybody's saving the roll on the armor for last. Who actually got it? What did they roll? 87. Ah, just beaten. Whilst I'm here, I want to find a nice thumbnail background. Okay. Onwards then. I got 2 player commendations for that. Don't know why. I thought my DPS was a little bit shit. So, this is where research is conducted on creations imbued with poisons and venoms. Ericthonius and I were conveyed not far from here. It seems our foe is finding it more difficult to surprise us. Fortunately for you, since they appear particularly keen to see you dispatched as quickly as possible. Even alone, you are forced to be reckoned with. Part of me is glad you emerged victorious, that I might observe you further. Hi, Lahabed. Were the circumstances different, I might thank you for keeping my son alive for this long, but I believe we can forgo introductions. Unless I have misread you? I'm all too familiar, Paragon. A charming appellation, but I'm afraid I hold no such position. No, I am Lahabre of the Convocation 14. If you truly are who you claim to be, then answer this question. That can wait. Ugh! What is this? Now this is curious. The trap I wove at your feet reacts to ether, but you remain unaffected. Such thin ether and in an unfamiliar composition besides. It is of no matter, I suppose. A more direct approach will beget the same results. Yeah, we have a traveller's ward, bitch. I'd advise you to think carefully before deciding your next action. Strike me down here, and Ecthonius' wish shall remain unfulfilled. Never again shall he meet Athena. Mother, you dare hide behind her name? Listen well, Ericthonius. We are of the same mind concerning your mother. You have your allies for protection, so what harm is there in hearing me out? Ericthonius, wait. There's a question I must need to ask first. If you truly are Lahabrea, why speak such blatant lies? Bitter in defeat, are we? Say my name. A simple request. Themis, was it? A trifle soon forgotten, as are you? I have my answer. The Lahabrea that I knew took pride in the convocation and would never suffer its denigration. Yoink! You sully his station with this farce. Miss, what are you saying? Lahabrea and I hardly saw eye to eye, but I know his voice when I hear it. Well, voices can be manipulated. Indeed, he makes a passing fine imitation in appearance and manner. However, the real Lahabrea would never call me by the name Themis. What trouble have you gotten yourself into, Elidibus? Imposter? You have no right to claim that form, that mask? Crunch! Ah, you. What? Who? How, what, where, why, when? This is Thancred. No. It was a mask that sickened me to wear. The mask of Lahabrea, a man who values his position above all, who would murder his own wife in pursuit of duty. Yet you would assume my name and wield powers that are mine by right. Any worth you may have hinges on that which you so despise. Such trite provocations. I will not be goaded into finishing this ere my work is done. Erchthonios, listen well. I am Hephaestus, and it is I whom you should call father. Oh. Hephaestus and Athena. Well, that would explain the red hair. What in the name of creation? What in tarnation? We would do well not to stand idle while our enemy is about. I believe an explanation is in order, Elidibus. Let us return to safety so you may provide it. Ah, that sounds more like the Lahabrea I know. Haha. Before we depart, however, I must offer you an apology. As Lahabrea said, I am Elidibus, one of the convocation and emissary of their will. We know this, don't we? Oh, actually, no, I suppose... Has it been told us in-game? We know it's Elidibus because we heard him speak at the end of the MSQ. For reasons which do not involve you, it was necessary to hide my identity while investigating this place. Still, that hardly excuses my deception. Maybe this is... I know a thing or two about deception myself. That is reassuring to hear. The burdens we bear are heavy enough without adding a grudge to their weight. In any case, we have pressing matters to attend to. Let us do as Lahabrea suggested and return to the gates. We can speak there. Yes, I suppose that is the reveal. Please, help him. Save him. I see Elidibus has chosen to keep odd company. Such a vexing composition of ether you possess. I still don't understand. As you are aware of by now, I'm known as Elidibus. After my dear friend Azam and I detected irregularities in Pandæmonium, we decided the best course of action would be to hide my station as I conducted my investigation. I'm sure Lahabrea as well is eager to find out why I hid who I was, so I shall save that story for later. First, I would like to speak of you, my friend. Although neither Azam nor I had ever met you in the flesh, you came with her highest recommendation. That alone was enough for me to accept you as an ally without question. There's somewhere in the world a guiding star so similar to herself was out there and used Asm to no end. There was not a shade of doubt in her heart that you would be a formidable ally. Furthermore, I've heard stories that Mistress Vanar, who held the position of Asm previously, journeyed with a familiar much like yourself. That made the decision to trust you all the easier. She too now dons the white robes of an advisor. If she placed her absolute faith in you, I knew I would be in capable hands. Aware though I was of the path you had walked, I had no interest in exposing you. I merely wanted to meet you, to travel by your side for a while. I may know but a small portion of your whole story, but that is enough for me to believe you would never lead me astray. I wanted to tell you that. Thanks. I guess. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, why not click the like button and consider subscribing. Remember, you can ring the bell notification icon to get notified when new videos go live. And until next time, cheerio.